I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients. Events such as staff breakfasts, colleague lunches, trivia nights, and regular parties allow our people to build relationships inside and out of the office. And between our social club and run club, there's something for everyone. William Buck is the perfect place to start, grow, or take your career to the next level. We have robust training to aid growth opportunities and boost career development. Changing lives is our underlying philosophy, and the William Buck Foundation formalises our community and volunteer initiatives, allowing us to better work with charities and organisations most in need. Your physical and mental well-being is super important to us. Our flexible workplace allows you to better balance your professional and personal life. And we're lucky enough to have an in-house psychologist to help you be your best. If you want to join a company where friendships are made and careers are built, then come on over to a firm that's delivering more than just advice.
I'm here at Urban Surf supporting the Bright Sky and Forward Ability adaptive surfing event, and super excited to see first timers to people like Sam Bloom who have competed on the world stage.
Got over 30 surfers here registered to jump in the water with us today, and there's a real buzz, lots of excitement. Bright Sky and Forward, we've been around for 64 years supporting people with spinal cord injury, and through Bright Sky we're able to fund an event like this.
I'm excited, it's electric out here, so much energy.
There is a huge crew, the weather has turned it on, it's going to be a sick day, I'm super keen, get some waves with some mates.
We're lucky to have Sam Bloom here. She's a great ambassador for forward ability support, but also a great advocate for surfing.
Sick event. It's cool to have so many surfers out here, and wild setup with Urban Surf and Bright Sky and Cyberwood, and yeah, it's going to be bad.
You couldn't get a better setup for getting into surfing for adaptive athletes.
It's incredible that Bright Sky and Forward Ability have put this event on and have made it happen, and yeah, obviously with the support of Cyberwood. So no, it's awesome. I hope we'll do many more events like this.
The Paralympic Games is the world's largest international sporting event for athletes with a disability. Growing from humble beginnings following World War II, when veterans participated in sport to help rehabilitate serious injuries, the Paralympic movement has grown exponentially in size and scale since the first Paralympic Games in Rome in 1960. Held every 2 years, alternating between summer and winter games, the Paralympics now provides a platform for para-athletes with a diverse range of impairments to showcase their ability to billions of viewers. Delivering a unique combination of ever-improving athletic performance and increasing global awareness, the Paralympics is recognised as the world's leading sporting movement for driving social inclusion, transforming attitudes, and improving lives.
This is what it's all about!
Using a process known as classification, para-athletes are grouped together with competitors with similar impairments to ensure fair competition. Athletes with a physical, vision, or intellectual impairment may compete in para-sport. Athletes with a vision impairment. Some para-athletes are completely blind, while others have low vision. Each sport has different rules and equipment for athletes with a vision impairment. For example, in cycling and alpine skiing, athletes train and compete with an able-bodied guide. In other sports, such as goalball, all athletes wear blindfolds, regardless of their level of impairment, to make competition fair. Athletes with an intellectual impairment. Athletes with an intellectual impairment have difficulty with their learning, communication, and social skills. While they are highly capable of dealing with the physical demands of their sport, athletes may need extra time and assistance to plan competition tactics and learn new skills. Athletes with a physical impairment. Athletes with a physical impairment form the largest group of competitors within the Paralympic movement. Physical impairments which can be classified for Paralympic sport include loss of limbs, coordination impairments from conditions such as cerebral palsy or brain injury, muscle weakness, restricted joint movements, short stature, and leg length difference. In all parasports, no matter what the classification or disability group, there are dedicated athletes who focus on their ability and strive to be the best they can be. Whether athletes want to compete at the elite level or just for fun and fitness, there are opportunities to get involved in parasport today. For more information, visit www.paralympic.org.au.
G'day everyone, I'm Clarence McCarthy Grogan. I play for the Southern District Spartans and we're here at Narrandjeri Stadium for Kevin Coombs' Indigenous Round. The Indigenous Round is so important because it shows the sport of wheelchair basketball that was led by Uncle Kevin Coombs, an Indigenous Paralympian and just an all-round great guy and a very inspirational leader for not just Indigenous wheelchair basketballers but people all around the country because of what he had to go through and trailblazed. It was really cool to have all the teams here. It's almost like a bit of a finals sort of weekend if the vibe is like that. It's just great to have that social interaction with everybody because we don't actually get to see each other too often throughout the season. You know, just great to see everyone at one location for the first time. Having Indigenous Round to kick off NAIDOC Week is awesome. It's an awesome concept. We're down here in Melbourne. You know, it's pretty cold for me coming from Darwin, but look, it's a great concept because it showcases what wheelchair basketball is all about, inclusivity, and it's just great to showcase wheelchair basketball and the Indigenous athletes that do play wheelchair basketball at the highest level in the country.
From the ancient dust of the Red Centre to the saltwater coasts where we meet today, Wheelchair Basketball Australia acknowledges the traditional custodians of the lands across this nation where we gather, train and play. We stand on the shoulders of giants, honouring the spirit of the first Indigenous Australian to wear the green and gold at an Olympic or Paralympic Games. Their journey is etched into the very fabric of our league. Across every court and every community, we celebrate the enduring spirit of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Together, we share in a legacy of strength, culture, and the game we love.
Welcome to Melbourne's Narrandjeri Stadium in the suburb of Thornbury for the start of round 5 of the National Wheelchair Basketball League. It's the home Red Dust Healers, sitting in third place in the standings at the moment with a 6-5 record, and they will take on the Manly Wheel Eagles, who are lording it on top of the standings with an 11-0 record, courtesy of their fantastically improved roster in 2026. Of course, the Wheel Eagles only joining the league a couple of years ago in 2024, while the Red Dust Healers have been with us since 2013. My name's Brendan Parnell. I'm joined tonight by Campbell Fraser, a man who can explain much more about the intricacies of the wheelchair game from his perspective as a player and now a coach. Campbell, fascinating matchup tonight. There's been some changes in lineups, but two of the uber-strong teams in the league.
Yeah, this is a really exciting opportunity to get to see both of these teams in a really interesting kind of change up for both of them. The Healers bring back Jalen Brown, who really is the one that they needed to kind of bring back into end towards the end of the season, really strong, and really is the one to bring in against the Manly Wheel Eagles, the absolute powerhouse that they are. And we know that the Manly Wheel Eagles also aren't running Tom O'Neill-Thorne at the moment, having come straight off the Commonwealth Games just a few days ago. So it will be a really interesting challenge for the Manly Wheel Eagles to find a few rotations that they're not as comfortable with and haven't run as often throughout the season so far. They've generally stuck to their rotation pretty strictly, and the Healers get a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more chance to kind of run their style that they want to play.
Yeah, you mentioned the Commonwealth Games, of course, the highlight of this week, the gold medal for the men's team, winning that final 19-13 over England. And Tom O'Neill-Thorne, who'd notionally be the lead part of the engine for the Wheel Eagles, is taking some time off, understandably, with as quite a few of the Rollers squad are, the ones that were in Glasgow anyway, with the Wombats, because of the hectic schedule they've had. They had the Toronto Invitational, the Rollers over there in Canada's preparation to the World Championships. And of course, we've had 3 rounds plus the Indigenous round, and still 2 rounds to go here in the National Wheelchair League. As the officials for tonight's game just shaking hands with the starting 5s. It's Blaine Kraplanov, Oliver Pittman, and Nick Tomazic with the whistles. Manly playing in their familiar maroon uniforms with the white numbers, and the Red Dust Healers in the home white with some very intricate Indigenous patterns on there. Of course, the Red Dust Healers run by the Outback Academy. The Wheel Eagles, their major sponsor, the Sargood Foundation. We're about to get underway. The ball's up, and away we go. Sabri Bedzetti straight out of the tip there on the ground, but pops straight back up. Jalen Brown just rolls into a 3 early on. Nothing doing. Phil Latham, the rebound for Manly. Latham, of course, having a stellar season, second in the scoring standings, 23 points a game as he gets his first shot up and good off the backboard. 10.5 rebounds as well to sit second in that statistic.
It's a funny thing to see the Healers. We had a little bit of joke the first round that the Healers ran. They went, I think it was 60 plus minutes without taking a 3, and then they've opened this game directly with a 3. And I think that is one of the really big changes that Jalen Brown brings in. He's a lot of height inside the paint, but his threat on the outside shooting is also incredibly strong, and he just brings so much change for the Healers.
Shot from Cox is off from the Healers there. Latham with the ball. He waits for the rest of his troops to catch up. Ball down to Cooper Tarleton. His shot's off. Healers with the ball. It's a big opportunity for them tonight to eat into that lead in the standings as Bond gets their scoring underway. Manuel Fuentes Cervantes with the ball. Manly, the Mexican international. He launches a long two. That's off. Bond the rebound. This week that Fuentes will be heading to Spain in the off-season, signing a professional contract there with Legares. Shots deflected inside. Latham does well to get hold of the rebound. Pushes transition. Fuentes, shot short. Bezzetti, the rebound. Former Italian junior international. So comfortable in Australia now. Shot's a little long. And Tyndall. Nathan with another rebound. Trolling down the floor. Sam White with the screen. Tries to flip inside. Pass deflected away from Tarleton, but the officials have seen some contact and the ball will stay with Manly.
It's a pretty slow way for both of these teams to start. I think this is just a little bit credit to having a few weeks off the league and some players not being in that international squad that's been playing pretty much back-to-back constantly. But it's interesting. Both of these teams are teams that like to push pace, like to play pretty aggressive, and they're just not quite there yet.
Tyndall the foul there. Second this quarter for the Healers. Patented inbound play to Latham, and he's geometrically precise from that sort of range off the glass. New stages, the teams, as you mentioned, Campbell, coming off a break for the Commonwealth Games. The 3-on-3 format was in vogue. Rounds 3 short. Ball out to Bond. Officials have found an offensive foul there. The Healers have turned it over.
For the Red Dust Healers, she's not on the bench at the moment, but I know she was on the playing list for this weekend. Tasha Ovens for the Red Dust Healers. She was also away at the Com Games, and I think she's one of the few ones who's coming back and going into playing immediately. A couple of the women are playing with the men's league teams that they play in this weekend, so I wonder if we'll get to see her suit up over the weekend.
Yeah, I can only imagine how she must be feeling after 4 days of competition and then straight on a plane and straight off and being expected to play. As the Healers make another one, hit into that lead, just down by 2, but Latham is perfect so far.
I think the two that I've seen on the list for the women's, it's Tasha Ovens and Hannah Dodd, who might be playing as well this weekend for the Rollerhawks. And they're really, if you look at the way that they play in their teams, both in the men's and the women's, they play so many minutes. They play so solid, and it's a credit to them. But it's not surprising that they would want to get back straight into it.
Nathan with that radar is absolutely cooking at the moment. He's on 8 points, 8 of the 10 for the Wheel Eagles. Jalen Brown yet to open his account as Cox launches from the baseline, shots off. Carlton the rebound. Bobbing along. Kicks ahead. Latham seems to be everywhere. Skip pass across. Fuentes. Back to Latham. The Healers really don't have a matchup for him at this early stage.
Yeah, that's going to be the struggle for the Red Dust Healers. They've got Jalen Brown, and he's a good inside kind of threat, but he's just not quite that tall. And the same thing with Sabri Bezzetti. They both like to play fast, and kind of if they get on a fast break, the Manly Wheel Eagles will kind of just have to accept it. They don't quite have someone to run them down, but that inside pressure just isn't there.
As Will Crooks and Campbell Message roll onto the floor for the Healers at break. Fuentes, long 2, that's off. Bezzetti the rebound. Haven't seen much half-court offence from the Healers yet. Keeps across. Brown measures that one. Gets his scoring underway.
You almost don't need the Healers to get into any form of offense as long as you can get Jaylen Brown to sit in a point where he's comfortable and not pressured too much. He's going to fire it every day.
Fuentes to Tarleton. Skip pass back to Fuentes. He lines the seams up. There's a little pass fake and jabs a shot off. Short. Brown the rebound. Snakes his way inside. It's 2 off the glass. Margin back to just 2. I think, as you say, Campbell, this looks like a transition fest.
Yeah, I think that's what both teams are really going to look to push. They both like to play a little bit faster. I think the Manly Wheel Eagles don't quite have as much speed, especially not having Tom O'Neill-Thorne. He really is that fast break powerhouse. I think the Healers, if they're going to look for something to change up this game, it'll have to be pushing that pace, and they're not really pushing that pace as aggressively as they could. And I noticed on that defensive side for the Manly Wheel Eagles, there was a bit of miscommunication under the basket, a little bit of confusion as to who was going to actually go to the shooter, and that allowed Jaylen Brown to snake his way through, but he really wasn't putting in much effort to do it. And I think the Wheel Eagles just got a little bit confused on what they were doing potentially, and that's something that the Healers need to be pushing and need to be using to their advantage.
Tarleton's perfect from the line. He went there as a result of the Red Dust Healers being in the bonus. Ready? A little over 4 minutes remaining. First quarter. Message on the left wing. The shot's off. Tarleton the rebound. Ball deflected. Will stay with Manly.
You could see even there the Manly Wheel Eagles wanting to push that transition a little bit. And I think even if they'd been able to get that transition going, they had Sabri Badzetti coming up from behind pretty much the entire play, and he ended up in front of it by the time the ball had gone out. I think that's the Wheel Eagles just can't really push that pace as aggressively as they need to.
So we get a look at the Healers huddle there. They've called a timeout, trailing by 4. And Brad Ness with the beanie on, giving you a little inkling as to how cold it's been in Melbourne this week. Of course, the suburb of Thornbury, just a little north of the city, but it's certainly been a very wintry period down here at the moment.
It definitely doesn't help at Narrandjeri Stadium. It's definitely one of the coldest stadiums. I can definitely confirm that. It's not the most comfortable to play in as when you're starting the game, and I think that's potentially why both teams, they both just started a little bit quote unquote cold, and I think the Healers have found a bit more of their pace, and potentially the Manly Wheel Eagles just aren't used to this.
We'll allow you that pun there, Campbell, but yeah, I agree with you. Narrandjeri Stadium sometimes feels like the cold is coming up through the floorboards. A beautiful public facility, but yeah, can suffer from extremes of temperature. Anyway, ball's back in play. Tarleton weaves his way in, becoming more and more confident. Shots off. Crooks with the ball for the Healers. Brown curls into a 3. Can't get it to go.
We should note that I didn't even realize this. It kind of just went under the radar. The Healers are actually on 5 fouls already. They're into the bonus, and that's kind of a credit to the way that they've been playing. But that's a difficult position for them, knowing that they don't have quite as many rotations with a couple players not here at the moment. So that's not a good position for them.
Latham this time becomes provider. Snap pass. Tarleton with the layup. Brown slides down inside, back to Bedzetti. To Message. Back to Brown. Gets around, draws some contact. Felt the contact. Launched the shot. He'll head to the free throw line.
And that's the amount of experience that Jaylen Brown has there. I think he knew that he was gonna be able to draw contact and really fight to show that contact. I think a lot of players would have looked to move around that player a lot wider and just kind of give up their drive. But I think Jaylen Brown is not the kind of person that you can convince to not drive for the basket.
Second of the pair is good. Margin sits at 5. Latham running a fair deal of the point guard activities for Manly in the absence of Tom O'Neill-Thorne. Was one of the stars of the Australian men's team at the Commonwealth Games that took that gold medal. Now a bit of a face of the sport there. Pendle gets down inside, goes reverse, can't get it to go. Brown screams after the rebound, gets hold of it. Skip pass, effortless. Across the floor, Bedzetti. Some shot clock pressure for him. Shots off. Latham pokes at it, can't get hold of it. The ball will go back to Manly. Just 2 minutes remaining, first quarter, round 5, opening of one of 3 games these two teams will play over the next 2 days. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Anybody in the vicinity looking to come down to Narrandjeri Stadium, see some world class wheelchair basketball. The ball's poked away. Chance for the Healers. Brooks finishes. In fact, it was Tyndall finishing there. Tarleton. To Latham. Brown hotly contesting his pass or shot there. That's ready. Ball for the Healers. Able to find a couple of stops, which has been crucial. Brown off the elbow. Two-ish.
I like that little fake out. Jaylen Brown just holding the ball up just slightly to pretend that he was passing. That allowed the defender to pull off him a little bit. Otherwise, he had a perfect mismatch. And just takes the ball back in, takes the shot that he was happy with in the end.
A lot of confused faces there. The officials ruling that Cooper Tarleton was fouled in the act of shooting. Jeremy Tyndall not amused. If that foul's on him, that would be his 3rd personal. We're yet to get through the first quarter. Just seek some confirmation from the bench there. Carlton's second shot sits up on the rim, won't go. Brown. The youngster Conroy comes to try and cut him off. Ball back to Message. He goes Glass. He was strong. Carlton the rebound. Latham pushing. Pushes a pass inside. Contact, but no call. Tarleton manages to get round and make the shot, but that won't count. Fuentes prone on the ground there. The officials stop the game.
This is interesting for the Manly Wheel Eagles. It's not even a quantifiable thing, but you can just tell the difference when they don't have someone like Tom O'Neill-Thorne to carry the ball, to really kind of run their offense. They just look a little more unconventional, a little bit more uncomfortable with each other in the way that they play. It's just not quite like how they've been playing throughout the season so far to get them to their 11-0 streak.
Bezzetti draws some contact in the backcourt there. Just the second team foul for the Wheel Eagles, so going to take something creative here. The Healers, they can take the last shot. The Browns allowed to roll into a 3. Does everything but go. Latham grabs hold of it. He realised time was of the essence. Tried to throw a full court pass, but time's expired before his teammate could get hold of it. That'll do us first quarter. The visiting Manly Wheel Eagles 15, lead the Red Dust Healers 13, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.
Welcome back to Melbourne and Narrandjeri Stadium, the second quarter of this fifth round clash in the National Wheelchair Basketball League. Brought to you by Bright Sky Australia, about to get underway. It's the Manly Wheel Eagles visiting, trying to defend their perfect record this season so far. They lead by just the 2 points over the Red Dust Healers. Healers, such a crucial piece, part of the roller squad. He's just on 2 fouls. That foul towards the end of the quarter wasn't assessed on him. Sigh of relief for Brad Ness. Ball gets inside for the Wheel Eagles, and Tarleton again. He's been extremely productive, 7 points already.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing for the Healers, that Jeremy Tyndall isn't in too much trouble. They know that if he gets in a bit of trouble, they have to put Ricky Cox on, and credit to him, he's a fantastic player, but he just has a little bit less experience at this level. And I think with the scoreline as it is now, the Healers would be feeling relatively confident that they can challenge the Wheel Eagles at the moment. And I think that rotation, if Tyndall has to stay off, that becomes a lot harder.
It's the Roadrunner Fuentes, the Mexican international, on the end of that transition there. He's so quick off the mark. That's Eddie. Going the other way. Canadian international. Finds Brown, he drives baseline. Gets past Fuentes there. Just leaned his chair in enough to create some contact. Fuentes is not happy, but it's a move that's born of some of the professional experience that Brown's been exposed to during his time in Turkey this year.
Yeah, that's the amount of experience that he has, and also just the play style that he's always had. Growing up, I've played alongside Jaylen Brown before, and no matter the age, no matter the experience, he's always had that drive and that want to go for contact, play with contact, and he's very good at working through it.
I think you can't underestimate some of that, adding some of that European guile that we've seen through so many imports in the league out here. They have a fantastic way of finessing contact and creating advantageous situations, and already some of those elements apparent in Brown's game. But at the moment, they've got a job stopping the Wheel Eagles. They lead by 6. Early stages, second quarter, touch pass from Beds heading back to, finds its way down to Brown. Offensive rebound, back to Brown. Pass inside, Tyndall gets that to go. Leans back in his chair. Latham, beautiful kick ahead pass. Sammy White does a good job to avoid the contact, make the layup. In fact, he drew some contact and will get a bonus shot.
I'm not quite sure, but I think that might have been Brad Ness in the background, just just having a little bit of a disappointment in drawing that foul. I think the Red Dust Healers know that that's going to be a danger for them throughout this game. There's a little bit of that contact and playing with their fouls a little looser than they should. And that's the thing that they've seen a couple times throughout the season so far, is they get in a little bit of risky space with their fouls, and the Manly Wheel Eagles will really take advantage of that.
Yeah, that was the second foul on Will Crooks, so that's 3 players in the Healers with 2 fouls each. Jones' free throws missed. Alan Brown racing down the floor. A bit of contact in the backcourt. Officials have just stopped the game temporarily. I think you're being conservative, Campbell, too, saying that Brad Ness just expressing his disappointment. Certainly a little more vociferous than that. Decidedly unhappy, I would say. Bezzetti, back underway, flips it, gets it back, free throw line, launches that elevated shot, it's good. Nathan running the point guard duties again for Manly, snaps another pass inside. Carlton, it's quite interesting to see Latham play provider. Tyndall with the ball for the Healers. Skips it across to Crooks. He's looking to skip pass back to Tyndall. He's got something he can make, but it's a little long. Crooks had snuck in there, but the ball deflected off his chair and out of bounds.
It's always an interesting thing looking at the Healers bench. They come with a lot of support, and especially at Narrandera Stadium. But it's interesting seeing a couple of their players also not being involved at the moment. I think that's Yannick Blair sitting on the bench as well. Potentially he might not be in playing form at the moment, but he's another one that they'd be looking to play. And I think the Healers are just in an interesting space at the moment. They're trying to find their way back in and really get competitive towards the finals that are coming up in a few weeks. But they're just not quite finding their space.
Latham makes a shot down one end. Bezzetti misses down the other. Latham, another defensive rebound. And another three-quarter court pass. This one, unfortunately, didn't find a teammate and sailed out of bounds. Latham up to 10 points. Only bettered by Cooper Tarleton with 11, who's been the recipient of some fantastic assist passing from Latham. Bezzetti skips across. Ball finds its way back to Tyndall. He's good from the free throw line. Effortless catch and shoot there. Directors to Latham. Transition defense has been an issue all night thus far. Latham can't get that to go. Tyndall the rebound. Dodge some disaster there. Ball inside. Bezzetti snatches that ball from mid-air. Finishes.
And that's a really nice finish from Bezzetti. I thought that was almost a pass going to Oscar Magera under the basket. Bezzetti flying in to kind of collect that. I think Magera had been in there for a little too long to actually put up the shot if he had received that pass. But that's the thing that the Healers like to do. They like to play fast. They like to get into positions that just make it so hard to respond to.
So we see the Wheel Eagles this time call a timeout. Head coach Kun Janssens, of course, vastly experienced, 4 times Paralympian himself for the Netherlands. Just for the roll of the eyes there is another Bill Latham potential transition pass failed to find the mark. And probably for the first time tonight, the Healers just showing signs of life offensively and managing to eat into that lead, get it back to just the 4 points.
Yeah, this is an interesting, it's such an interesting position for the Healers to be in, because they're even for the last little bit they haven't been playing someone like Jalen Brown, who's taken a few minutes off, and to still be in really solid contention against the Wheel Eagles. Obviously, it's not the Wheel Eagles at their full strength, it's most of it. It's still they've still got a solid amount behind them, and I think this is something that we've seen the Healers do previously this season and also throughout previous seasons. They just have a couple games where they really show that they're still coming to play. They've still got their energy behind them, and they can surprise occasionally.
So the Healers with the ball. Campbell message. Ball up the top. Bedzetti almost let go of that pass without having a recipient. Managed to drag it back in almost magnetically. Launches the 2. Latham, another rebound. He's 6th in that category to go with his 10 points. No surprise for somebody who's in the top 3 in scoring and rebounding in the league. Fuentes back to Latham, gets the elbow, wheels around. Back to Tarleton. He goes glass again. Just growing in confidence. Brown back on the floor for the Healers. Here's the Latham matchup. There's Baxter, just reached a hand in there. Assessed with the foul. He's a little bemused. Just doing a good job thus far. Tracking pretty smoothly. Bedzetti drives inside, catches, tumbles out of his chair, but makes the layup anyway.
And that was another moment from the Wheel Eagles. With Jaylen Brown just sitting there with the ball and Bill Latham pretty intently watching him instead of looking at what was happening behind him and the fast break that was kind of coming in behind him. I think that's something to do with the way that the Healers are playing their offense. They're drawing so much attention, and the Wheel Eagles just looking kind of stunned at times and not quite moving into their defense as committed and as fast as they need to.
Brown with plenty of space there again. Gives it up, gets it back, shot short. Latham in the rebound. He's looking to push transition. Bedzetti's aware of that. Dives in. Contact, nothing called. Tarleton with another layup opportunity, misses. Brown the rebound. Skating up and down the floor. Brown finds Latham. He finds an expert pass to Bedzetti, finishes underhand. Marching back to 2. Bedzetti goes under the screen against trying to guard Fuentes. Wheels back around. Almost had to steal there. Might have got a hold of it a second time. Can't do so. Ball to Tarleton. Shot clock pressures apparent. He gets it off. But that shot won't count as well. Officials have called a halt. Ball's going to revert back to the sideline.
I think there was an appeal from the Red Dust bench that potentially if the ball hadn't gone to the Healers, they didn't actually collect possession there. Was it a shot clock violation on the Wheel Eagles? I think that's what they were appealing for. I don't think they were able to get it. But there's a little bit of argument there that the ball never changed possession necessarily.
Dylan Gawthorne on the floor for the Wheel Eagles. Of course, a man with some wheelchair NRL rugby league experience. Jaylen Brown, just almost 45 degrees to the ground. Just flips another layup in. Scores are tied. Gawthorne with the ball for Manly. Bedzetti poking at it. Ball to White. Hands off to Latham. Tries to throw another pass. Not on the same wavelength with Bedzetti there. With Fuentes, should I say. Fuentes and he exchange glances. It's taken more of 16 minutes, but an opportunity now for the Healers to get their noses in front. They can't do so. Brown shots off. Latham the rebound. It's been a familiar rhythm tonight. Been fantastic on the defensive glass. Brown certainly not shy in shooting. Latham catches baseline. Brown's there with a hand. 3-second violation.
think Bedzetti was he was able to do it in a respectful way. I think he was getting a little bit annoyed that the player was still next to him in the paint. He looked down, he pointed, and I think if it had gone any longer, he might have had a couple words to say, but got the call, got what he wanted.
Brown cuts inside, draws some contact. Bedzetti finds him. Basket's good. Chance for 3-point play. First time tonight, head coach Brad Ness is up and about, roaming the sidelines. Interesting, it is cold here, Campbell, but Brad Ness wearing a beanie but a t-shirt. He's a braver man than I, given how cold it is at Narrandjeri Stadium here in Melbourne tonight. Fuentes, double teamed. Series of pass fakes, clock all the time, shot clock running down. Hawthorne tries to get it inside, picked off by Brown. He's away, transition, sheer speed. Goes left-hand layup, controls it expertly.
That's such a simple error from the side of the Wheel Eagles that we talk about constantly, that you want to be moving the ball, don't hold on to it. And I think that just kind of got away from them. I think the passing lanes didn't open themselves up, and they kind of left Fuentes with an impossible problem. He had nowhere to go.
It's Latham with another assist there. That handoff, little two-man game with Fuentes, who hit the three. Drag the margin back to 2. Brown drives middle. Skips across Timber. He's really found his touch tonight. Looking fantastic. Hawthorne down in the backcourt. Fishers will hold play for a second. Ball will stay with Manly.
The Wheel Eagles really just need to, I think they need to slow things down here. Not necessarily play slower, but just play more intentional. I think that they're almost kind of reverting back to playing single kind of roles and not playing around their team. I think that's a credit to not having Tom O'Neill-Thorne as kind of the one that leads them, that holds them together. Is that kind of controller in the way that they play. They don't really have someone taking over that role.
Fuentes skips it across. It's off. Brown streaming the other way again. Cut off this time. Ball flips inside. Bedzetti. Offensive rebound. Put back. Shot's good. Contact again. Another 3-point play opportunity.
I think Jackson Gray not too happy to be drawing that foul, but I think he was leaning. There's always the argument about the cylinder and where your cylinder is while you're shooting. I think he was well and truly leaning back into that cylinder and made a little bit of contact on the arm.
Something you don't see every day. Sabri Bedzetti shoots a significant air ball. Must have just lost his grip on the ball there, I'd suggest.
I think that's the cold fingers. That's sometimes just that shot. It's a little bit of a struggle.
Fuentes wheeling, a little bit of magic. Ball gets down to the baseline. Lovely pass from Latham. Jackson Gray unfortunately couldn't finish. Got himself to the perfect spot, the youngster. In fact, it caught a Manly hand before going out of bounds. Fuentes goes 3/4 court baseball pass. Jalen Brown, but he knew the buzzer for halftime was expiring. Launched a shot. He's appealing. There might have been some contact. The officials are having none of that, but regardless, it's been a fantastic second quarter from the Red Dust Healers. They will take the lead at a halftime, 38-32, and we'll be back in just a moment.
G'day everyone, I'm Clarence McCarthy Grogan. I play for the Southern District Spartans and we're here at Narrandjeri Stadium for Kevin Coombs' Indigenous Round. The Indigenous Round is so important because it shows the sport of wheelchair basketball that was led by Uncle Kevin Coombs, an Indigenous Paralympian and just an all-round great guy and a very inspirational leader for not just Indigenous wheelchair basketballers but people all around the country because of what he had to go through and trailblazed. It feels really cool to have all the teams here. It's almost like a bit of a finals sort of weekend if the vibe is like that. It's just great to have that social interaction with everybody because we don't actually get to see each other too often throughout the season. You know, just great to see everyone at one location for the first time. Having Indigenous Round to kick off NAIDOC Week is awesome. It's an awesome concept. We're down here in Melbourne. You know, it's pretty cold for me coming from Darwin, but look, it's a great concept because it showcases what wheelchair basketball is all about, inclusivity, and it's just great to showcase wheelchair basketball and the Indigenous athletes that do play wheelchair basketball at the highest level in the country.
I'm Nicholas Marachi. I'm a Senior Manager in the Tax Services team here at William Buck in Victoria. William Buck has a really good environment of innovating and really changing things up where we need to adapt. And as tax law changes, our way of administering it and our way of preparing advice also changes, and we're adapting to that. The firm has a really good culture of acknowledging good behaviours and good efforts and outstanding outcomes from staff members. The Victorian office offers an Excellence Award to an outstanding staff member. That was a really humbling experience for me. Usually I'm not short for words, but I was short for words at that point in time.
Wheelchair basketball emerged shortly after World War II after it was developed by injured servicemen. It became a foundation Paralympic sport at the 1960 Games and is now one of the world's most recognisable wheelchair sports. Athletes who play wheelchair basketball have a physical impairment. All players use a wheelchair to compete, although some don't use a wheelchair in everyday life. The court dimensions and basket height for wheelchair basketball are the same as the able-bodied version of the sport, as is the playing time and number of players on court. Wheelchair basketball classifications range between 1 and 4.5 points. Players with a classification of 1.0 have the highest level of impairment, while players in the 4.5 point class have the highest level of physical function to be eligible for the sport. The wheelchairs used during a game are specially designed to support players and help them move around the court. During a match, the classifications of the 5 players on the court are added together and must reach a total of no more than 14 points. The object of the game is to score the most points in the opposing team's basket. The team with the most points by the time the clock expires wins. Wheelchair basketball is a contact sport. The sport is so fast that it can be difficult for athletes to stop in time, meaning contact is inevitable and can result in some spectacular collisions. While contact is permitted and even encouraged, head-on collisions are strictly forbidden and can result in fouls or even ejection from the game. For more information on wheelchair basketball, visit paralympic.org.au.
Why Red Duff? I like here and I like the team. I love Melbourne. Yeah. This season, I see all the players be better. Last season is a little bit less. This season be better, maybe because make a great job with this year. I think I'm happy about this. Yeah, my style is more aggression, to put pressure on another player, don't give him to breathe, and now work. Yeah.
Sabri Bezzetti, guarda tutte le partite Wheelchair Basketball Australia.
Welcome back to Narrandjeri Stadium. Players getting themselves organised for the second half of what's been a cracking contest between two finals-bound teams. It was Manly who took the initiative early before the Red Dust came storming back in the second quarter to take the 6-point lead they currently hold. And it was the Stars, Campbell, who dominated the scoring.
Yeah, the Red Dust Healers have really come out firing, and I think they've slotted Jalen Brown back into their team. So he didn't start the season as he was overseas, but he's really come back strong. He's sitting at 16 points. But the quieter game that Sabri Bezzetti has had, and we've said this a few times, he's already at 10 points, 9 rebounds, heading towards double-double. We've seen him get a quiet triple-double in one of his quieter games earlier in the season. I think that's exactly what the Red Dust Healers need to be doing, is relying on those players that they know are consistent scorers, a consistent utility for them. And the Manly Wheel Eagles have just found a few struggles that they haven't really been able to shore up. Those turnovers, it's not a high amount of turnovers, but 1 compared to 6 is still a considerable amount when it's a team that's gone 11-0 throughout the season so far.
Yeah, I want to highlight that just single turnover from the Red Dust Healers, a team that we weren't possibly sure, given the late comeback from Jalen Brown from overseas, from Europe, how they would be able to gel together chemically. But yeah, for a team to go 20 minutes of basketball at this level and just turn the ball over once is truly astonishing and extremely impressive.
Yeah, and it's a credit to both teams, really, that's really the only standout statistic at the moment. The Red Dust Healers have shot 9 more attempts than the Manly Wheel Eagles, but they're both sitting at 43 and 46%. The Healers at 43%. Currently, so they're still standing pretty comfortably together, but it really is just the turnovers that are the only slight difference between them. They're even on the rebounding count. Their assists are pretty much even 1 between them. It's such a tight game, and something that potentially the Healers, maybe they were expecting it, maybe they weren't. I think they would have been coming into this as the theoretical underdog, but the Wheel Eagles just haven't been able to find their pressure against the Healers.
And it's the Red Dust Healers in their white uniforms with the ball to start the second half. Jalen Brown drives down to the elbow, tilts back. Youngster Conroy there, unable to do much about that. Offensive rebound. For the Healers there. Oscar Maguire snuck onto the court. We didn't see him at all in the first half. He's good with the putback. Creeps out to 8. Fuentes on the right baseline. Smooth stroke there, gets that to go. Strange we wouldn't have seen Oscar McGarrett at all in the first half. Head coach Brad Ness obviously have been happy with what happened in the second quarter where his team dominated 25-17, but anyway, he's on there now. As Latham snavels another rebound. Pushes the ball down the floor. Fuentes thinks about the three for a second. Snaps a left-hand pass. Latham fakes the handoff, goes back to Fuentes. He rolls around. Bedzetti hot on his tail. Back to Latham on the block. Surprising when one of those misses. McGarrett the rebound. Bedzetti rolling ahead. Goes a little play out to Tyndall. He skips across to the weak side. Ball to Brown. Tyndall screens. Brown comes around, looks back to Bedzetti, who'd appeared at the free throw line. Shot fake. Somebody's going to have to do something here now. It might be a Brown perimeter shot. No, he skips another pass. Tyndall relocated as the shot clock goes off in the background. The shot's off. Fuentes. Latham. McGarrett cuts him off in the backcourt. Ball gets ahead. Tarleton. Pass fake. Just asked a little much of youngster Evander Conroy there. Just the pass a little too far out in front for the 15-year-old.
Yeah, I think Oscar McGarrett had maybe a single minute in that first half, and I think he didn't quite do too much with it, considering the size that he has. And I think that was the reason that he really didn't get much time after that. I think he's clearly come out firing and wants to take a little bit more attention and be a bit more in the light, as he really is the one that they want to use inside the paint to contest someone like Bill Latham. As we said, Jaylen Brown is a fantastic shooter and really good defender as well. He just doesn't quite have that height and size to do that.
Manley with the ball. Fuentes wheels around. Bedzetti glued to him all night. Ball back to Latham. Pulls it way up over his head. Gets into his rhythmic shot. It's almost unique, his straight-on bank shot and his ability to figure out the geometry. Very few players at this level can master that skill. Brown, left alone from three, almost dared to shoot it, goes boom. Haven't seen too many successful three-point shots tonight, but surely it's playing with fire to let Brown have that much space on the perimeter. Latham, across to Fuentes. Tarleton. Latham. Tarleton dives down, gets the pass back. Latham finds the pass expertly. Conroy the rebound, dumps a lovely pass behind the back to Tarleton, who finishes.
I think that play, you could almost guess what the Manly Wheel Eagles coaching was in the half. I think it was move the ball. I think that's exactly what they needed to do in the first half. And we saw Fuentes get a little bit lost with that a couple times. And I think that message has rung true and really gotten through, and that's what gave them those points. Even missing that shot, but Evander Conroy knowing that he got the rebound, he could have tried to put the shot up, but knowing that just an extra pass gets that shot back up in a much easier way. I think the Manly Wheel Eagles are finding their way forward with Kun Janssens just giving a little bit more leadership and direction that they don't have necessarily on the court at the moment.
Tarleton wheels around a couple of times. Conroy hits a screen. But nowhere to go. Skips the pass across. Fuentes gets into his shooting motion quickly, but that's off. Brown the rebound. Sailing down the floor. It's cut off. Ball poked away. Tarleton did a great job. Quick hands there. Unfortunately, the ball just caught a piece of the baseline off his hand. – 13 seconds left on the shot clock for the Healers. Ball's inbounded. Bedzetti flips back to Brown. Across the floor, Tyndall finds a cutting Bedzetti. He gets to the bottom of the rim, but gets the offensive rebound again. He's so quick to get after that first shot. Draws the contact and makes the layup.
That's a very selfless play from Jeremy Tindall there. I think he actually had to drive to the basket if he wanted to take it, and Benzetti obviously found the space before he did. But there was a really nice kind of two-man game that they were playing on that side with Magera, knowing that Magera's huge inside the paint and he has to be stopped. And that left the line open for Tyndall, but obviously taken up by Benzetti, and that's a fantastic shot inside.
Wheel Eagles showing the first fracture we've seen really from them all season. They trail by 8. Of course, no Tom O'Neill Thorne, but all the other pieces in play. There's another turnover. Brown draws some contact. Out of his chair. He just that classic ability to get in front of the defender and take that line. And in fact, Manly want to have a chat about things.
That's the kind of play I'd actually really, I might after this game go back and watch that. Really interested to see where the point of contact was there, because Jaylen Brown had a pretty clean line, and I think he knew that the contact was coming in from behind him, and he actually slowed down and kind of turned into that contact to kind of draw it in rather than just taking his shot. I think that's a credit to him, knowing the player that was closing out on him potentially has a little bit less experience and a little less chair control than the absolutely incredible chair control that Jaylen Brown has. And I think he was pretty elite in drawing that contact where he didn't even necessarily need to, but just a little bit of insult to injury, where I think that's what the Healers are liking to do against the Manly Wheel Eagles at the moment, is just put a little bit of pressure when those cracks start to show. They've really kind of made them realize the mistakes that they've made. I think all of those turnovers they've either gotten points out of or have gotten quite a lot of value out of. That's a scary thing for the Wheel Eagles, who really haven't been toppled, haven't been challenged too much throughout the season so far.
Yeah, I take your point, Campbell, about that. It's I was going to say an issue, but it's just a situational thing at every level of the sport in all its formats. Star players change perception because of their athleticism, their ability to get to spots that other players potentially can't do, their ease of movement, and their split-second calls for officials. And that one was ruled unsportsmanlike, become extremely complex and subjective. But officials, very clear signal there, and they were happy enough with that. So as a result of the unsportsmanlike foul, the ball will go back to the Healers. Brown drives baseline, draws some contact from Carlton this time. Some folded arms on the Manly bench. In fact, no foul was called. The ball's gone back to Manly there. All the players in the back court, I don't know if they were a little confused.
I think it was actually called a charge on Jaylen Brown. I think Carlton was arguably just in that position right as he needed to be. And obviously, as we know, Jaylen Brown's not one to pull out of contact, and he was pretty willing to take that on. I think he was not too happy with the call going that way. I think Tarleton did kind of respond to the threat that Jaylen Brown is, and he's beaten him a couple of times, and I think he's now starting to learn those moments and realize the position that he needs to get to a little bit faster.
It's the Healers back with the ball. Benzetti tries baseline. A little whirling dervish of his own, gets the ball back to Tyndall. That shot's off. But some contact detected. Again, the players looking a little confused, but Jeremy Tyndall was not confused at all. He headed straight off to the free throw line. Cooper Tarleton heads to the bench for the Wheel Eagles. Jackson Gray back onto the floor for them. Middle, good with the second. After having trailed by as much as 8 The Red Dust Healers find themselves leading by 11 now. As you see some contact before the ball is inbounded, that'll be an offensive foul.
Yeah, I think that was a illegal screen that might have come in through the midcourt as they were trying to get open there. And I think that might have been Sammy White just collecting a little bit too much contact there, trying to get his team open for the pressure that the Healers are starting to put on up the court.
Brown weaving. Found his rhythm, finds Crooks inside. He can't get it go. Crooks offensive rebound, tries to get a pass away. It's deflected. Latham gets hold of it, throws a three-quarter court pass to Fuentes, who'd leaked out. He makes the layup.
You have to imagine Bill Latham's pretty happy with that one. Finally getting that long pass that he's been looking for a couple times. Finally able to find it pretty comfortably with Fuentes down the floor.
The Wheel Eagles again don't have a matchup inside. Jalen Brown able to take his time there, measure that shot. 22 points now, game high. Fuentes wheeling, feeling, flips the pass across to Latham. Goes Glass. It's just automatic from that sort of range. Bedzetti with the ball for the Healers. They lead by 9. Brown drives middle. Thinks pass, goes shot. Through some contact. He'll shoot 2 more free throws.
I think this could be one of those positions you don't want to be talking down the value of all the Wheel Eagles that are here. But you'd have to imagine Tom O'Neill-Thorne watching this game from afar. So he'd be pretty kind of struggling with the fact that he's not able to be there and not able to put the pressure in that the Healers really that they need to take against the Healers.
Yeah, certainly O'Neill-Thorne would take the ball out of Latham's hands a little more and change his role a bit. But in preparation for finals, you certainly want to have some examinations like this where roles have changed. Fuentes draws a double team, flips around, skips it across. Latham's there. He dumps a pass inside. The youngster Gray, who finishes with the left hand, draws some contact. Instead, he's arguing his case with the official, but Gray will head to the free throw line with a chance to convert his own three-point play.
Yeah, I think the Healers bench wasn't too happy with that call. I think that was it was absolutely the right call, and I think Will Crooks just collected a little bit of contact down there. Potentially, you could argue that it was before the shot. Jackson Gray going kind of up on that one wheel as he collected the ball and really went for that shot, but I think he had to have known that he was collecting that foul.
Jalen Brown puts his hand in the air to head coach Brad Ness as he sailed that pass well over Jeremy Tyndall's head, looking for a cheap transition opportunity. Fuentes wheeling, hits past Crooks a couple of times. Crooks comes back, the ball skips across to Latham. He goes the one-hand hook pass. Fuentes catch and shoot, can't get it to go. Brown the rebound. Fuentes down in the background. Brown continues, finds Bedzetti. Layup short. Bedzetti offensive rebound again. Changes hands midstream. Makes the layup and draws contact.
I think Jackson Gray's not too happy about that one. I think he was arguing that it was between the shots that foul came in, where he kind of pulled the ball back down into his lap, and potentially that was out of his shooting motion. But I think when you're in that position, posting up, even that little adjustment is still considered part of your shooting.
As we see a technical foul on the Manly bench there. They certainly weren't happy. Kun Janssens raises his hands, a little bemused. He's now going back to the Aristotle position in his chair. Brown missed the technical free throw. Bedzetti will now have an opportunity for the one bonus free throw after his layup. He's short as well. Gray the rebound, and he's fouled. All of a sudden, a flood of fouls. 2.5 minutes remaining, third quarter. The Wheel Eagles were over the limit already. The next foul for the Healers will see them sail over that foul limit as well.
And that technical foul was actually on Jackson Gray as well after drawing that foul on Sabri Benzetti. I suspect that might have been a little bit of talking back to the referee under the basket. It might have been a little bit said. He's a younger player, he's a little less experienced, and potentially just that little lack of composure in a pretty frustrating game for the Wheel Eagles so far.
It's something you don't see every day. Jalen Brown missing a coast-to-coast layup with the left hand. Wheel Eagles with the ball. Still trail by 9, but certainly not out of it by any stretch. Ball to Latham, squares up, does a double team. Rips the ball back up over his head. There's absolutely nothing defenders can do about that if he's shooting with that touch from that range with that technique. Zeddy goes middle, can't get it to go. Latham the rebound. Fuentes, Wheeler, back across to Latham. Defense all sinks under the screen there from Gray. Back to Fuentes, he rolls into a 3, can't get it to go. Offensive rebound. Go back to Latham, that's off. He appeals vociferously for a foul. Both arms outstretched. Now we have got a technical foul on the Manly bench. Coach Kun Janssens is not... Everybody's getting a little emotional here, Campbell, at the moment.
Yeah, I think you could see that one coming a mile away. You could see Kun Janssens just roll up a little bit closer to the bench and a little bit closer to the line, and I think you had to know something was going to be said there. And I think it's good of the referees to be really looking to control that and kind of be aware of the attitude that's coming out. You can hear it from both benches whenever anything happens. There's a lot of energy, and I suspect even from spectators as well. As the Red Dust Healers get a lot of support from their spectators, and they can get some pretty high energy games. And with that energy comes a little bit of that back chat, a little bit of language. So potentially just wanting to control that. And I've never seen a coach get too animated after they get the first one. So I think should be pretty comfortable from here, but it's not a great sign for the Manly Wheel Eagles knowing that this is the first of 3 games they've got to play. And if they're already getting a little bit lost in the way that they play and the Healers getting under their skin, it's a scary thing for them.
The Healers turned it over. The Wheel Eagles. Closing stages, third quarter. Chance to eat into this 8-point advantage. Fuentes goes long pass, picked off by Bezzetti. He instantaneously gets a pass to Brown, who goes layup. Can't get it to go. Appeals for a foul. Message him with the offensive rebound. Tries to flip it back to Brown. Can't get there. Fuentes. Nothing rolling. Got Gray with him. Doesn't need him. Draws some contact. Felt it and went the extravagant underhand flip. Wheel Eagles doing a good job to hang around here. Chance to get this back to just a 2-possession game. Just 26 seconds remaining before 3-quarter time. Fuentes, good with the first. And the second, he certainly doesn't take any time at the free throw line. The officials no sooner provided the ball than he's shooting. Brown coming the other way. Chance for the Healers to run this right down. Brown's aware of that, or he's just uber confident, but he's turned it over, do you believe? So now we see some more contact in the backcourt. Jalen Brown looks down at his chair ruefully. He's not sure how he's transgressed. But both teams in the bonus, so it'll allow Fuentes to roll straight back to the free throw line where he just made a couple some 7 seconds of game time ago.
And it's interesting as much as it's a struggle for the Wheel Eagles at the moment, kind of get their scoring line going and get their energy going. The Red Dust Healers, for their one turnover that they had in that first half, they're now up to 8, so they've collected 7 in one quarter, and that's a pretty difficult thing for them to kind of reconcile, even for the fact that they are still ahead and still feeling good. They've just let go a little bit. I think they got a little too comfortable with the scoring line where they were, and potentially that's just showing a little bit of their cracks.
Campbell Message launches one on the buzzer. The pass from Jalen Brown. It's the plaudits from his teammate. And it pushes the Red Dust Healers out back to a 6-point advantage. They lead 57-51 over the visiting Manly Wheel Eagles. And we'll be back for the last quarter in just a moment.
From grassroots to the pros, I'd love to see that.
Where style meets performance, I'd love to see that.
Supporting champions and inspiring the next generation, I'd love to see that.
Welcome back for the final quarter of what's been a fantastic contest. The Red Dust Healers leading by just 6 over the Manly Wheel Eagles. We've got, if anybody was on triple-double watch, 4 players closing in on triple-doubles. Bill Latham, one of those, with a lovely assist there to get things going to Sammy White.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic way for both of these teams to show up. I think the Healers have really shown they've had a bit of a struggle throughout the season. They've gone relatively even in their games, and they're really showing that bringing back Jalen Brown is the thing that the little magic secret that they needed to bring back in to kind of bring them back into contention. And I think they're really looking towards the finals in a couple of weeks and knowing that they've really got a chance now.
Bond is back on the floor. The Healers answer straight away. Jalen Brown pulls his way inside to get hold of that rebound. Finds Bedzetti on transition. Latham's lurking back in the paint to cut off his drive. He skips it across to Brown. He looks at a 3. Goes in and out. Fuentes the rebound. Latham probing. Gets to the elbow. Kicks it back to Fuentes. He thinks shot. He thinks better of it. Back to Latham. Fuentes rolls down to the right-hand wing. Latham's cut is cut off. Cut off illegally.
That'll be Tyndall's third. And Jalen Brown also. I hadn't even noticed that. I didn't realize the contact that he was putting in, but he's on 3 as well. It's, if there was ever a way for the Wheel Eagles to really put pressure on the Healers, I think that's forcing Jalen Brown into situations where he might want to push a little bit of contact. We know that he likes to do that, and that might just push him over the edge a little bit.
And while that was going on, Campbell, Sabri Bedzetti might have picked up his 5th. He was sitting on 4. It's been a foul fest for the home Healers, and to that point, they'd managed to avert something catastrophic, but that'll be the last we see of the Italian tonight. He's going to finish with 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists, but visibly frustrated. got another technical foul. And the players voicing their, the Red Dust players voicing their frustration there. Jalen Brown with that technical. That's going to push him up to 4 personal fouls as well. But mysteriously, Fuentes, who's nailed everything all night, can't make that free throw.
That's interesting. I don't know the exact rule for that. To be fair, but I've never seen a player get a technical for. I think it was being over the line when the free throw was taken, and I thought that was usually just a reset and the shot doesn't count. If it misses, that is. I've never seen a technical for that, and that's a surprising thing for Jalen Brown to get called on as well.
Bill Latham makes the second free throw. The officials huddle up, as the teams do. Head coach Brad Ness looking a little frustrated there. He's called a timeout for the Healers. Understandably, to probably try and recalibrate things without Bedzetti being able to be on the floor anymore. And he's certainly going to have to be conscious of the fact that Jalen Brown obviously can't foul again either.
Yeah, and I think if he collects that last one, that's the nice thing about Sabri Bedzetti being the one that had that fifth foul is that they do have the good rotation for him with Oscar Magera. But if Jalen Brown also collects another, they don't really have another high pointer that they're wanting to put on and give a lot of minutes to in that position. I think they've been happy to run the 3 highs that they've been playing with so far. That just puts them in a little bit of a difficult position when they're leading the Manly Wheel Eagles, but just not quite as comfortably as they might want to be, given the situation that they're putting themselves in.
Mitchell Bond with the ball. The Healers left wide open. Shot to go. Tyndall sneaks in to get hold of the rebound. Back to Bond. Ball back to Tyndall, courtesy of Brown. Back to Brown at the free throw line. He calmly nails a 2. That was one they much needed. Brown still swiping away at the ball there in the backcourt. Surely he knows he's on 4. Fuentes with the ball for Manly. Probes middle. Pulls it back over his head. Can't get the shot to go. Offensive rebound, Gray. Magera in there pokes it away. Now called. On Gray this time. Both benches extremely animated. Yeah, young Gray. Jackson Gray on 4 now. Still an eternity to go in basketball terms. 7.5 minutes. Brown off the elbow. There's the mismatch. Can't get it to go. Latham sails in for his 11th rebound to go with 17 points and 7 assists. Now looks to go coast to coast, gets down to the baseline, uncontested almost. Brown does come down with a hand, but he is conscious of those 4 fouls, and it was a half-hearted attempt. It's just gone a little quiet. Benches are still chattering, but team's extremely conscious of the foul trouble that they're both in. Shots off. Bond gets hold of the rebound, flips it out. Tyndall, smooth stroke, can't get it to go. Fuentes the rebound. He's up to 7 rebounds to go with 10 assists, 15 points.
That's funny. You can see the difference between the way that both of these teams are dealing with their fouls. With Jackson Gray, obviously Jackson Gray isn't the most concerning if he does foul out. He was playing very aggressive defense in the way that he was contesting that shot before for the Healers, and comparatively we did see Jalen Brown pretty much. He got to the position, he closed out on the shot, but then really not making an effort to get 2 in the face of the shooter. I think he knows the threat that he is and the threat that he represents being on the court. And if he gets even that one more, that makes the Healers so much less threatening.
Brown's allowed to shoot another reasonably uncontested 3. Can't get it to go. Contact inside. Nothing doing. Brown goes the other way. Layup. It's good. There's a real speed race there. And a little too quick. Pull back to Latham. There's a lovely bounce pass to White. His lane's cut off. Kicks it back to Fuentes. Lob inside. Latham leans in his chair, balances himself. Offensive rebound. Gets around a couple of hands. Can't get it to go. Tumbles out of his chair. Round the rebound. The heeler's going the other way. Bond looks inside. Flips it across to Magera. He makes that. Winters with the ball for Manly. Every time they look like they're about to get out of the hole, the heelers find an answer. Making 6 at 7. There's an offensive foul. That'll be the end for Jackson Gray. Certainly got full value for his 5 fouls. A little under 10 minutes of court time.
Yeah, and he's one of the younger players that the Manly Wheel Eagles have, and it's as much as it's a frustrating thing, and he'll be pretty annoyed in that position. It's a good test for him to come against players like this and see how he can play against them. And knowing those fouls, it would be worth him looking back at those fouls and seeing where he went wrong, and knowing that he can play against players like this, and he's done well to really be utilised in a team like this. But the heeler's just having a little bit too much pressure and control, and really kind of abusing the fact that he is younger, he's less experienced, and he's a little bit prone to that pushing into contact.
Latham makes another 2 with a complete entry pass from Fuentes. Ball skips back to Brown. He's daring him to shoot that 3. The defenders sagging under. Bond on the move, goes glass, finishes. Margin at 9. Fuentes gets his way round, makes a layup. Brown, picture of frustration there that he can't fully commit himself to what he'd like to do defensively. He skips a pass back across. On Cox. His pass is telegraphed a little bit. Sam White picks it off. Latham, 2-on-1 break. With Fuentes, who finishes with the left hand. Every time you think they're going away, Manly, they find a way. Margin at 5. We tick down under 4 minutes remaining. It's been quite the seesawing contest. These two top teams in the National Wheelchair Basketball League. As Magera inside finishes Brown the assist. Taking up to 8 in that category to go with 11 rebounds and 27 points. Fuentes to Latham, back to Fuentes. He looks at a 2, goes glass, won't get it to go. Magera taps the rebound to Brown. Almost getting to the point the Red Dust Heelers can look at running some clock. I don't know if they're familiar with that concept. The way they've played tonight and most of the season, but Bond draws some contact.
This is a really good example of the value that Oscar Magera has. He's a little bit lower on the substitution list for the heelers. Obviously, Jaylen Brown and Sabri Bedzedi tend to take those high pointer roles. I think he's really stepped in as he knows he has to take over the Sabri Bedzedi role. And I think he's done that really, really well, just to kind of protect the lead that the heelers have. They don't need to push anything too aggressive. They don't need to push to extend their lead too much, knowing that the Wheel Eagles aren't really clawing that lead back. They're just kind of maintaining that separation.
It's Kun Janssens, the Manly Wheel Eagles coach. Directing traffic there. What do you think he's likely to be saying, Campbell? We can't really get the microphone into that huddle, but 3 minutes left. Just down the 7 points.
I think he'll have to be pushing the agenda of trying to get Jaylen Brown a little bit into that contact. I think even with that previous inbound that we saw where he threw the ball off the wall, I think sometimes that can get you into a little bit of trouble. And I think the Wheel Eagles know that if they push a little bit of pressure, push a little bit of pace, The Healers might just crack that little bit that they need for the Wheel Eagles to try and get back. They know what they're doing. They're doing really well in the consistency that they're used to showing. And I think Kun Janssens is just using the timeouts to kind of bring his team back and collect them in the way that someone like Tom O'Neill Thorne does when they're on the court, when he's on the court, and they don't quite have that cohesion that they're usually looking for.
You see a set play out of that timeout, but Mitchell Vaughn 3 from the top. Catches the front of the rim, is off. Wheel Eagles go the other way. Fuentes misses, but the ball deflected out of bounds by the Red Dust. We'll stay with Manly. Little over 2.5 minutes remaining, 7 points the margin. Manly looking to remain unbeaten. Ball to Latham, he pulls it back in familiar fashion over his head, finds Tarleton. His shot's good. Tarleton up to 17. Brown. Probing, cut off by the smallest player on the court, Conroy. He raises a hand, can't do much about Brown's shot, unfortunately, from that height. Brown makes it. Carlton from Manly. Attempting to push transition. Finds Fuentes. He goes glass. Can't get him to go. One that he'd normally make. Ball's deflected. Bond does a great job to get after it. Throws the speculative pass three-quarter court. Tyndall flicks it onto Magiera. Back to Brown. Surely he'll run some clock here now. Tyndall dumps inside. Magiera. Beautiful fake screen and roll there.
Again, Magiera's kind of been a little bit of a godsend to really control the way that the Healers are playing. Not that he has to do anything fancy, not that he has to do anything special, but just be so consistent and really kind of hold the team together. Knowing that they were in a little bit of danger with Sabri Benzetti getting fouled out, and just the attitude that was kind of coming out. I think Austin Magiera's done really well to just keep them comfortable and get those consistent plays, those easy passes inside, and get those shots up, just to keep the cool that the Healers really need at this late stage.
Cooper Tarleton gets an offensive rebound, makes the layup, draws some contact up to a career-high 19 for him. He's really stepped up in the absence of Tom O'Neill Thorne from a scoring perspective. This is the free throw. Brown sailing the other way. Tarleton manages to get back to cut him off. Brown happy enough to run some clock as we tick down. Ball inside. Magiera can't get that to go. Message pokes it free, but the ball had collected the line. And we need to be pretty much perfect from here now. Down by 7, a touch over a minute remaining. Fuentes draws some contact, weaves his way through, looks at 3. Can't get it to go. Tarleton again, those long arms, the rebound, another put back.
I really like that play. It's almost like a Horn-style play, knowing that the rebound was inside, and Fuentes is able to take that 3 and really challenge the Healers. That if he got that 3, that was putting the Healers in a pretty difficult position. But not quite responding quick enough to Tarleton under the basket, and as you say, with that height, he's such a pressure inside.
Bill Latham with the foul there, he realised that they couldn't allow the Red Dust to run that clock right down. Now he's going to call a timeout to have a chat about things, just to try and figure out what's their best strategy now in terms of fouling. They still have the next foul, they'll be in the bonus, so they may choose to go steal and foul straight away and take their chances with a free throw shooting contest up against a 3-point shooting contest.
Yeah, and that's a pretty difficult thing to be putting against the Healers. The Healers sitting at 10 from 16 from the free throw. The Manly Wheel Eagles 9 from 14. They've both been sent to the line pretty consistently, as we know there's been a lot of fouls both teams in the bonus at this point. I think it's been a real credit to the Healers to just stay a little bit calm when they need to. And I know for a fact that Brad Ness in one of the timeouts was really emphasizing to his team, don't talk back to the referees, don't say anything. We don't need that at the moment. We don't need the attitude to kind of spill out. And I think that's what they've done really well to kind of cool back down. And the Wheel Eagles are just not quite finding that, and have had a little bit of conversation back and forth and just haven't quite found their comfort.
Bond shots off, Tarleton the rebound. Fuentes looking to push the other way. Trail by 5, still a chance here. They need something off this possession. Latham looks at the 3. Can't get it to go. Official having a look. He's saying the ball will stay with Manly. Just the 12 seconds. They're going to have to go make either steal or foul. Shot clock's disappeared, understandably. Just 12.4 seconds. Manly get it in. Straight inside to Latham. Finishes. Back to the one possession game. They're going to have to foul now. 10. Shot clock running down. Brown gets his way out of the backcourt. And reaches in there from Tarleton. But the Healers did a pretty good job to get that ball into the front court and to chew up most of those 10 seconds.
And I think that was a really smart way for Jaylen Brown to deal with that. I think this is a credit to the season that he's had in Turkey, where I think a year ago or 2 years ago he would have been driving that layup, knowing that he had a pretty open line and potentially could have gone for it, but he actually went to slow down a little bit and purposely pulled out. It would just waste a little bit more of the defender's time actually closing out on him and getting to him rather than forcing them into contact.
As Brown makes just one of 2, and that'll finish the contest. Manly conceding, less than a second remaining once they got hold of that defensive rebound. So after all that back and forth, the Red Dust Healers have found a way to topple one of the unbeaten teams in the league. Of course, the Manly Wheel Eagles coming in here on top of the standings with an 11-0 record. No Tom O'Neill-Thorne tonight, granted. But the Red Dust Healers putting forward their case for what is really a preview of the finals.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic way for the Healers to kind of come back into form. I think this is something that they needed to do. That this was really kind of make or break round for them. And obviously they have 2 more games that they have to play against the Manly Wheel Eagles, and only a 4-point lead in what was a pretty ugly game from both sides in terms of the fouls. And I think it'll be a question for the next 2 games of which team can kind of rein that back in, kind of keep their cool a little bit more, and through a little bit longer of the game. The Red Dust Healers really started quite strong with in that first half, and I think their second half was actually a little bit weaker, and the Wheel Eagles were able to pull it back just a tad and get it to this 4-point deficit, but they just weren't able to quite find their way.
As we look at some of the raw numbers there, and as you'd expect in such a close contest, almost identical statistics all the way down. The turnovers, whether that was the commentator's curse after halftime, we'll never know, Campbell, but they finished up calibrating themselves pretty close to even. You can't really imagine a collective box score that looks more even than that one.
Yeah, and I think it was that third quarter for the Red Dust Healers that made it so difficult for them. I think it was that they had 1 single turnover in the first half, and I think they'd collected 7. I think it was either 7 or 8 by that third quarter break, and I think that's what made it so difficult for them. I think they didn't come out of that half quite as comfortable as they wanted to. That was the only quarter that went even between the Healers and the Manly Wheel Eagles, and the Manly Wheel Eagles actually won the fourth quarter only by 2 points, but they did end up pulling through. So I think the Red Dust Healers might be looking at how they come out of a halftime, and potentially just looking at why they started a little bit cold again, and where the Manly Wheel Eagles really kicked in.
Yeah, if you were following the triple-double watch, you would have had a heart attack. Jaylen Brown finished with 30 points, 12 rebounds and 8 assists. Emmanuel Fuentes Cervantes finished with 19 points, 9 rebounds and 11 assists. And Bill Latham tiptoed the line as well with 23 points, 13 rebounds and 9 assists. You really couldn't write about it. As we look at some of the highlights from that second half, and there were certainly plenty of highlights from both teams as the game seesawed back and forth. Latham, as his usual metronomic self, the youngster there. Gray finding his way inside. He managed to foul out in less than 10 minutes, but certainly made a positive contribution. As we said, Latham was fantastic, and Jalen Brown showing that he's found a way to fit in with the style of Brad Ness's team. Oscar Maghera, Campbell, you mentioned, really, once Sabri Bezzetti fouled out, he took on a critical role in that high point spot.
Yeah, and I think he did really well to take on that role, and obviously not try to emulate Bezzetti in that kind of pace and that strength that he plays, but really just play that big role inside the paint, be strong, good rebounds, good easy shots under the basket, and that's all he needed to do.
Right, as we watch the players go through their cool down and warm-ups, a reminder that every game in the National Wheelchair Basketball League is viewable, streamed on the Wheelchair Basketball Australia YouTube channel. Of course, 2 other series going on at the moment. The Wollongong Roller Hawks hosting the Victoria Marvels. They took the first game in that series tonight. The Southern District Spartans had their colours lowered by the Perth Wheelcats in that game, but both those series still have 2 games to go along with this series. So a reminder, if you're in Melbourne, please try and get out to Narrandjeri Stadium. Some fantastic world-class wheelchair basketball. We've been spoilt for choice at the moment after seeing the 3x3 at the Commonwealth Games, with, of course, the men coming home with the gold medal and the female team, the Wombats, coming home with the bronze medal. And, of course, the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League will be back in action next weekend, along with the last round from the Men's League as a prelude to the finals at the end of October. But that's enough from me. On behalf of my co-commentator, Campbell Fraser, we're wishing you a good evening or a good morning or a good afternoon, depending on where you are around the world, and we will see you next time.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.